Mhm. Still says setting up. And this is where I always get confused because Zoom will tell me it's still setting up and I
But it's
don't.
actually
There
live.
we go.
Mhm.
There we go. Okay. All right. Hi, Colie. I am so excited to have you on. And yeah, we're going to chat about simplifying your marketing. But before we dive into any of that, tell everyone who you are, who you serve, how you serve them, and where they can find you because we'll be sure to have all of your links in the description.
Okay. Hey everyone, I'm Colie James. I am a client experience system strategist. I help photographers and other creative service providers set up streamlined systems on the back end of their business so that they can save time and stress with automated systems to where you are not babysitting your inbox or your client projects.
And when you say the back end, what do you mean by that?
I used to say like Dubsado and Honeybook, but now that I'm also dipping my toes in Airtable, it's basically all the things behind the scenes that you can use to track your business progress, whether that's individual client projects or your business as a whole.
Amazing. So all of the fun systems that come along with client specifically, do
Mhm.
you dip your toes into things outside of client work or is it pretty much solely focused on client work?
Well, now that I do Airtable, like for example, your podcast, if you wanted help in setting up a system to make inviting guests, guest management, podcast management, like the editing, the communicating between your team members, I have Airtable solutions for that. But like for the most part, I am still doing client project work.
Awesome. Okay, so I know today you want to talk about simplifying your marketing, right?
Mhm.
And specifically, you have quite a few different opt-ins. Tell us more about what the opt-ins are that you have. How many do you have?
You know what? I have those that are like forward facing on my website that are on my everything page. And then at the bottom in the footer on the main pages of my websites, I have particular ones. But then there are also the ones that I created like a long time ago that I haven't really turned off. So I don't know how many of those there are out there. I'm going to be honest, Amanda. I don't turn anything off because I don't want anybody to sign up for something and get a oops, that doesn't exist anymore. But the main freebies or the main opt-ins that I'm currently working with are a workflow magic, which basically talks about the four workflows that I think every photographer or creative entrepreneur needs to run their clients through their project pipeline, if you will. I also have a new one. It's called Booking Magic. Do you guys see a theme? That one is telling you all of the elements that you need inside of your proposal to make it highly converting and get that yes within 5 minutes. I also have one that is currently down, but it was up. It was called Email Magic, and it walked you through my framework for what I think every client experience email needs in order to create confidence for your clients and also get them to convert. I have an audit, which is either a quiz form to self audit or it's a PDF download that's like a checklist. Um, and then right now, I'm about to head into a challenge. So I also have that as an opt-in as well.
Okay. So you have quite a few. So I'm sharing I'm sharing your website right now. We've got your homepage and you've got the quiz first thing, and then you've got your still my favorite CRM trick for getting clients booked fast with a 20-minute training. And you've got different resources down here in the footer. And then your everything page that I click
Mhm.
through and you can see everything. So there are quite a few things that people can click through and get different resources from you. Why does this, oh, this is cute. We start April 29th. I like that a lot. Why has this become a problem for you?
I feel like at some point I lost the thread. And the listening audience might not know, I'm a former professor, and so I love to teach. But I feel like I don't want to keep giving people teaching opportunity after teaching opportunity without like leading them down a direct path that would go from opt-in to purchasing something, even if it's a $37 template versus my course, which is going to 997 soon. Like, I don't care what you buy, I just want you to buy something. And so
Mhm.
I want to make sure that I'm not slowing that process down by allowing them to download opt-in after opt-in after opt-in, because a lot of my opt-ins are trainings because I love to teach. So like 20-minute trainings. But if you opt into like three different 20-minute trainings, you might feel like you have to digest those before you're ready to look at my offers. And if you never find the time to sit down and watch a 20-minute training, like, are you ever going to get to the buying stage? I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. It would slow things down because why pay for something if you can explore the free things still? If you haven't explored the free things, you're not going to get that, oh, but I need the next step.
Hmm.
I'm curious with the everything page, what was the intention behind that and the hope?
I mean, I just wanted everything to be in one spot. But as you and I discussed before we hit recording, I didn't think about the fact that if they were all in one place, that people were going to grab three in less than 10 minutes. So what I noticed at the end of March, beginning of April, is I had people that were opting into three different freebies at the same time in less than 10 minutes. And then they were getting bombarded by like 20 different emails in 3 days. I'm really surprised that anybody who opted into multiple things at that point stayed on my email list. Because when I looked at the back end of Kit and saw what some people got, I was like, oh my gosh, I would have hit unsubscribe like 10 emails ago. This is a lot. And even though they asked for it by opting in, it felt really overwhelming to me.
Yeah. Was the hope when you created this to simplify things for you or for like, was it, I want to be able to share on a podcast and say you can get this freebie at coliejames.com/everything? Was that kind of the hope?
That was kind of the hope. Also,
Yeah.
when it came to like letting people see the different offers that I have, because right now I'm really focusing on the template shop, the course, and then the only one-to-one offers that I publicly have right now are a strategy call or a client experience audit. And I kind of wanted all of those to be in like one spot so that you could see them. But what I've recently been thinking about is, well, maybe I don't have all of the freebies on the top of that page. Maybe I put one, and it's the one that I think maybe leads them to the buying process the strongest, or what I feel like is the entry point for everyone, because I also feel like my perspective on that has changed. And that might be why I'm still clinging so hard to some of these freebies that I think are like second and third stage instead of someone coming into my business initially now.
Mm, that's a really good point. I feel like there are quite a few ways we could go about this actually. Um, the thing about simplifying your marketing is that you really have to simplify it on the front end and the back end, right? You've got to simplify it for yourself, but then you also need to simplify it for your customers. And while this has simplified it for you, it has made it more, I think, complex and confusing for them. And so, what I would suggest is that you build yourself some kind of Airtable system that has all of your freebies and all of your little, and you probably already have one, but
Have
making sure
it.
you have that. Yeah. When you're doing things like recording your own podcast episodes or being a guest on someone's, having that open and being able to easily reference, okay, here's that thing and here's that URL. And just having those two things open already, I think will help do more of this for you versus here's, or you could hide. Um, well, no, because you want to be able to specifically send them. So no, never mind. We don't want to do that. But simplifying it for you on that end, right? But then for your people, I feel like there are a couple routes you could go depending on what you ultimately want. So I know you said earlier that you don't really care what they buy. You don't have like a buy this, then this, then
Mhm.
this. Um, you could have, how would you break down your different offers as far as categories? Do you have like,
So it's interesting. I tried to focus for a very long time on workflows. And that's because when I get emails from the Dubsado directory, or people just filling out my opt-in or my contact form, it's usually something like, Coley, I need help with workflows. But what I have just come to the conclusion of is that it doesn't matter that that's what they say that they need or that they're interested in. Most people that are telling me that are not ready for workflows. They don't have their booking system set up. Like they don't have a proposal set up that they're sending to their people. They don't have a good set of like client experience emails in order to bring people through the journey. They think they need the workflow because either that's what they've heard me talking about over and over again, or someone else just said, oh, you need workflows. Like that's what your CRM does. And
Mhm.
so part of this simplification is I am trying to not put workflows first anymore. I would really like to talk about a simplified booking system or getting really good emails before I try to tell you anything about workflows. So I've made an intentional shift. I don't think that it's quite made it to my website yet. Like I did a podcast episode on it. I've been doing it when I teach in people's groups, but I do think that it's going to take some simplification on the website and then also making sure that on the back end, when I'm doing my email marketing, that I'm not pointing people towards workflows or anything related to it until I've had the chance to convince them that there is something else that you need first and have you check that off your list before we start talking about something that's bigger like your overall workflows.
Okay, so my question for you is, what do your people think they need though?
They
Is
think they
it
need workflows.
okay? So I would actually suggest that you do keep the workflow stuff on your website and those freebies, maybe as front and center. But on the back end, when they get that opt in, then you're saying this stuff is all great and it's important, but have you send them to the podcast episode you just did, right? Like you should listen to this first. Because if they think they need workflows and you're only showing booking systems and things like
Mhm.
that, they may say, well, that's not what I need right now. I need workflows. And so you have to give your people what they want, but also what they need.
Mhm.
And you have to say, okay, here's workflows. Here's my workflow and automation guide. You can download it for free. You could update your workflow and automation guide to say, this is all great, but hey, here's the before step. You need to have this in place first and send them to your offers on those things that need to be done first.
And I'm sending them direct to offers or I'm sending them to another opt-in. Which one would be more effective?
I mean, I would send them straight to the offer
Okay.
first. Realistic. Well, okay, let me ask you this. What is the offer and what's the price point?
So like if I was going to get them to do a booking proposal, like a smart file template for HoneyBook or a proposal template for Dubsado, those are 97. And then the
Mm,
email templates are currently 147. I am working on a course though. It's a mini course, but it is a
yeah,
course. And
yeah.
it's going to have everything that it's going to have the email templates, but it's also going to have like specific trainings on helping you write better client experience emails. And I just finished a new custom GPT that they're going to get that will write them for them.
Mm.
So I'm not going to be sending people to email templates. Like, I don't know when this is. Oh, this is already live on YouTube. So in a few weeks, the email templates are going to be off the website. And instead, it's going to be like, here's this mini course that is honestly not that much more expensive than I was selling the templates for, but you're getting so much more value. So, but those are the two offers. I mean, so we're talking about 97 and then 247 when the course comes out at full price.
So I would say that if I was creating this workflow for you on the back end, I would say in the um, in the freebie itself, I would do both. I would say, I've got this course, check it out here, but then also here's some podcast episodes about this. And so once you create that pre-launch content that's really leading people into the course, I would link it and share those in there. So then even they've seen the course, they've got that first touch point, but now they're, oh, let me listen to this free stuff. And then you're reiterating the need for the course and talking about the course itself in those episodes. And so it's kind of a web that you're creating of here are all the touch points with the course. And then within the emails themselves, I would again start out doing both and send them eventually after you've given them that lead opt-in, right?
Mhm.
Send them into a sales funnel for the course, like full on sales
And I just
funnel.
want to make sure when you say course, you mean my new email course. You're not
Yes, the
talking
new
about my
one.
full CRM. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the new email one specifically. But that's what I would do. I would say, here's a full sales sequence. You've opted in, you've got this, and maybe you have it segmented. This is getting more complicated, but you're already a pro, so I'm sure you can have no problem with this. But maybe you self-segment where if they click the stuff about booking and emails, then you send them the sales sequence. And if they don't click any of that, you're like, they've already got this down. Send them in a sales sequence for workflows.
Okay. And when you say workflows, you mean like workflow templates.
Templates, your one-to-one stuff, whatever you are
Okay.
most interested in promoting. Yeah. Um, because that way you can and you could even do a um a little survey or quiz in one of those first emails where,
To get them to click and segment. Hmm.
yeah, self-segment, like which of these do you feel
Okay,
that you have
Amanda.
confidently set? But then that way okay, they want workflows and they need workflows, or they want workflows but they need some other things first.
Okay. No, that's interesting. So I think, and I'm hearing you, and I'm definitely, I
Mhm.
mean, like, we're going to get off of this, and I'm going to go do it. One of the things that it's currently doing is if you opted into the workflows, it's offering you the workflow templates as a tripwire, and then it's pushing you to take the full course. But
Yeah.
I thought that if people were ready for workflows, they were going to be ready to hear about the whole course. But again, as I'm finding, is that the people that think they need workflows, they actually need more of the beginning stuff. And while my full CRM blueprint course gives them all of it, I just don't think that they've been warmed up enough
Yeah.
to hear it yet. So if I warmed them up with like just a proposal template or the new email course, after hearing about those, even if they don't buy them, I think that they would then be in a better position to hear about a full course to set up your entire client experience inside of Honeybook or Dubsado.
Is the tripwire itself converting right now? Not the course, but the workflow
It's not
templates.
converting horribly. I don't feel like I have, that's the other problem with having this many freebies. I
Yeah.
don't feel like any of them are getting enough traffic to
Yeah.
really be, I mean, is it converting at like 8 to 10%? Yes, but not that many people are going through it because like I think in April or March or whatever, I probably got, I don't know, 150, maybe 200 subs. But like that was spread out between, I don't know, 6 or 7 opt-ins. So there really haven't been enough people going through one funnel to be able to say, oh, hey, this is converting at this rate.
Yeah. That makes total sense. Do you Okay, so I would suggest maybe keeping the tripwire for the workflow
Okay.
templates. Because again, that's what they want right now, is they want that. And the thing is that if you can get someone to purchase, the sooner they purchase, the more likely they are to become a repeat customer.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's converting, I would say keep giving them what they want. It's not like they'll use it once they're ready for it, right?
Okay.
But once they have what they want, you've also got to say, okay, but here's what you actually need to. So
Mm-hmm.
then when you set up this workflow, it actually is worth your time and energy. Now, this is all through the lens of, okay, we are just going to promote the workflow freebie. However, you could have a quiz, and this is getting way more complicated, but you could have a quiz that people take, and then that segments them into which type of freebies do you need. And then you can share these freebies you've already created.
So the truth is, I have that quiz, but it's not putting them to a freebie, it's putting them to a template. But to be honest, I wouldn't ask any additional questions. The only difference would be that the outcome would be the freebie that leads to that template instead of giving them the direct template. So that is an idea to like literally just relabel the quiz. And instead of calling it the template matchmaker quiz, I don't know, think of something cute to give them the next must-have training that they have. And then it would send them to the freebie. And then I could either have a tripwire off of that freebie or not. But honestly, I don't think I would change any of the questions in my quiz. The outcome would just be a free training instead of the template.
Yeah. And then that way you can send them so they get the free training that you're suggesting they need. And then you can also say, well, here's the free training. Here are some other free resources I've also created, and just give them to them. They don't need to opt in for them. Just
I do
give
have
them
some
to
of
them.
those where if it's like workflow magic was great and now you're ready to hear about emails, click this link and it doesn't give them an opt-in form. It just takes them straight to the landing page. Well, it tags them, of course, because everybody
Right.
needs a tagging kit,
Right.
but it takes them straight to the training page where they can watch that video and download the implementation guide that comes with it.
Yeah. And I think, saying here are these free resources, because you've already spent the time and effort on the free resources, and I'm sure they're all incredible. So you're still able to give it to them, but it's less confusion on their part. They're only seeing the things that they actively need.
Okay.
And then within that, it's here are freebies that I have. Here are podcast episodes that I have. Because you've got so many podcast episodes. Make sure you're utilizing those.
I
And you can
do.
also, and then also, and it just builds like the know, like, and trust factor. They're hearing you in their ear. It's just so important to make sure that we're sharing those podcast episodes, but also sending them then into, okay, here's free resources, here's trainings, here's podcasts, but also once they've checked out a few of those things, the sell. Okay, let's move you into the sales sequence that makes sense for this area of my business.
So, and this is where I feel like I need somebody to tell me, Colie, you're doing too much. You need to simplify this. Because when you said that, and you said, and then we put them in a sales funnel, immediately in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, then I'm going to put them in a sales funnel depending on what they clicked. Like if they wanted to learn more about booking, should I put them in a booking sales funnel instead of just putting everybody through the same sales funnel? So, what's your opinion on that, Amanda? Is it better to try to customize it? I mean, because it wouldn't really take more work for me because I have all of those sales funnels written on the back end.
Right.
But should I be giving them one depending on what they click additionally? Or should I just be sending everybody through the same one, regardless of whether they click additional resources or not?
I think it depends on what your goals are. Is there within your value ladder, like what's the top thing?
The
Or
top
is
thing is a CRM blueprint.
okay. I would send them through a sales funnel for that.
Okay, that's what I'm currently doing.
Yep.
Okay.
I don't think you need to do, well, here's the smaller offer, here's the smaller offer. Like send them to the bigger offer. And then, as they're on your list longer, they may see things for these other ones.
Okay.
But I would spend most of your marketing energy on that one course.
Okay. That's where I'm trying to get back to. Because for a
Yeah.
while, I was kind of selling the course, but then I was like, no, everybody says that they want micro wins. Let me give you these templates. And so I do feel like, in a way, because I was talking about all the templates all the time, and, I felt like I was diluting my message. And so
Yeah.
I do agree with you. Like, if I just go full on the course, then if they don't take me up on the course, that's when I can think about what else to do with them on my email list. But initially, if my goal is everybody gets pitched the course, I do think it simplifies my messaging a lot.
Yes. It simplifies your messaging on all ends, right? But then also when you're doing, that's what you focus like your evergreen stuff on, but also your live launches on, right? Your live launches are focused on that. You can do some of your other products as bonuses during a live launch or as an upsell or a downsell. Like you can add them into those things, but also just within your newsletters that you're sending, pop in a PS if this topic is something you need to work on, grab this template that I have in my shop, right? You can do really casual mentions of those lower priced, lower on the value ladder offers
Mhm.
so that you're still selling them, but you don't have to do a whole message around them necessarily.
Okay.
and use them to create podcast episodes ideas. And then you lead into, oh yeah, by the way, I've got this whole template while you're recording. But it doesn't have to be your main messaging.
Solo podcast episodes talk about individual templates. I am scribbling that down, Amanda. I mean, I will say, I feel like in the last, I know we both know my podcast manager, Haley. I know that she's like dying at me because I'll have everything set. And then I'm like, oh no, I need one more podcast episode about emails because I'm doing the email challenge. And so, like, slowly but surely, I have just been shoving stuff down to put more solo episodes to talk about the templates up. But really, I've only been focused on email. So I really should make sure that a few of my other ones are more focused on individual templates.
Well, and something that you could do also that would make Haley really happy is if you just sit down and say, okay, here's this template. What do I need to tell my people in order to lead them to it? And record those now. And then when you have those times where you're like, I'm too busy, I can't record, whatever, you've got things to pull from and be like, here, Haley, pop these in. Or I haven't had any guest episodes in a while and I haven't recorded any new ones. So we've just got to, like, here's my bank of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then that way you've got them and you can put them out as you need to.
Okay.
Versus,
Plus, those would be good to link inside those evergreen emails.
100%. Yep.
I mean, I have a list now, Amanda. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Got to get this done before the kids out for school. I'm like, it's funny. I just recorded like a snippet for Haley for her podcast about summer plans. And I'm like, no, like my summer plan is that I don't want to record anything this summer unless I wake up one day and I'm like, oh, I'd like to record this. But other than that, I want everything recorded and planned and basically somewhere where she can go grab it by June 10th. That's my cutoff.
Yeah, because you got to spend all the time in Disney you can.
I don't know how much I'm going to get to Disney this summer. I mean, well, we always go for Chloe's birthday, and that's in August. And then I think that even if my family doesn't come with me, I'm probably going to go for my own birthday in July.
As you should.
But I mean, I love Southern California, don't get me wrong, but like January and February are my favorite times to go. I'm not especially fond of being in Southern California in July when it's like 104 degrees outside. I'm not a fan.
You should just plan a little workation.
And you should just come with me. I mean,
but spend the day working, and then in the evening when it's a little cooler, you can go in and hang out.
Well, I'm a rope drop person. So for me, it would be first 3 hours, rope drop, then go work in the hotel for the rest of the day, then go back when the sun sets.
Yes. I did that at Disney World once where I did a little workation. And it was just so nice because I would just work in the morning. Well, I'd go grab coffee and then work. And then I would go into Epcot and have lunch and then just come back and work some more. And then I'd go in the evening. It was perfect.
I mean, that sounds so good. And now that you're over here on the West Coast,
I know.
I feel like you should get Disney passes to Disneyland instead of Disney World. And then we could just go.
You hear that, Russell?
Russell.
It's time.
I mean, and if she does this, she can come with her buddy Colie, and then she's not going to drag you every time. I'm just saying, I think that's a win-win. Although, did I tell you that James got a pass this year?
Yes.
Yeah, so he has a pass. But he's always like, oh no, if you can go with someone else, that's great.
I feel like that's how Russell feels too. I could probably convince him at some point to get a pass, but he also would be just as happy with me going someone else. So we'll see. Maybe one day. Okay, so we've covered quite a few things. I don't want to give you too many action steps, but is there anything else that you would really like to cover?
No, I really do feel like you gave me like my actionable steps are going to be number one, I'm going to plan out solo podcast episodes that directly lead to the templates. I'm going to simplify the freebie that is shown on that everything page and then the one on the footer. What I was doing before was every month I was highlighting one. And so I think I'm going to try the workflow one for a while. And what we'll do is we'll lead them into the tripwire for the workflow templates. and then they'll go into a pitch for the course, just like I have been. But the difference is, since all of those other freebies will not be forward facing on the website, I will put in the emails. If you were interested in the workflows and now you're finding that you need to think about your emails, click here to see my email freebie, lead them in that way. Because I started doing it, but like I need to be a little bit more intentional.
Yeah. Yeah, instead of I mean, I wouldn't obviously get rid of your everything page, but instead of having that where it is, I would maybe have um I almost wonder if it should be the workflow magic training instead of, or no, it's a training and a guide. Okay,
It
yeah.
is now. Yes. It's
Okay,
not
okay,
just the guide
okay.
anymore. I
Okay.
I put the two together. So I did
Okay.
a podcast episode where I was talking about people's different learning abilities and how people learn best. And so
Mm,
my new thing is for almost everything, I have a video training and then something else. So now I'm putting both of those on the landing pages so that they can choose, okay, I have time to watch this 20-minute training. Let me watch it. If you don't, if you download the PDF, which is an implementation guide now, and you look it through and you're like, oh, I need a little bit more information about this, that's when you can go back and watch the video training. I'm hoping it's going to give people a little bit more motivation to kind of work backwards. You can skim the PDF. And if something interests you, then you can go watch the video training versus making people feel like they have to sit through a 20-minute webinar. I mean, it's not a webinar, but I feel like anytime you have a training, people are like, okay, what's the sales pitch like?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I would maybe instead of just saying everything there, I would have workflow magic training
Okay.
and just have that
One freebie. Yeah, I can do
ColieJames.com
that.
slash workflows, which we will also link in the description for anyone who wants to check that out. But um yeah, just having that there and having that and just see like, do people click it? Do you have Hotjar on your website?
I don't anymore. I mean, I'm sure, I don't think the pixel is on this one. The pixel was on my photography website. So I should put the pixel on this one and see what people are doing
Yeah,
on that page.
yeah, I would say add that to your homepage and just see how often is workflow magic training clicked. Are
Okay.
people hovering over it? All those things to see like, is it converting? Um, yeah, that would be my
Okay.
suggestion though. And
Will
they just
do.
keep the everything on the back end for now.
Okay.
All
I can
right.
certainly do that.
Well, thank you for letting me kind of dive into your business and chat things through with you. This was really fun for me.
No, thank you for the advice. I really appreciate it.
All right. For everyone who needs to update their systems, their backends, we will have all of Coley's links in the show notes, in the description of the video, website, Instagram, all the things. And if you love Disney, you definitely need to connect with her because if you're watching the video, as you can see, there's lots of Disney in the background, and um, she is just
I'm like, do I have
amazing.
ears? Oh, I do have ears. I'm like, only there we go. I should have
So
worn
on
ears the
brand.
whole time.
It would have been perfect. But thank you, Coley. You are such a magician with workflows and systems, and I'm excited for people to check out the workflow magic training and see for themselves what the back end looks like once you've updated it.
Thank you, Amanda.